Welcome to Symbols and Synchronicity. Ours is a channel where we observe the world around us and analyze the symbolism and meaning woven into that world. And today, we're going to be talking about the spiritual symbolism of the cactus, resilience, protection, and sacred wisdom. The cactus doesn't ask for our gaze, it endures. In the harsh sand of the desert, under a sun that peels flesh from bone, the cactus stands. The cactus is unyielding. To the casual eye, it is a desert feature like any other, rough-skinned and bristling. But for those who have learned to listen, those whose lives have been scraped raw by hardship, it speaks in harsh truths. It is not beauty that the cactus offers, but survival. Its thorns are not ornaments, they are warnings, born of struggle. It thrives not in gardens of ease, but in lands where most things die. And still, without announcement, without plea, it blooms. A sudden burst of color in a world of dust. It is this contradiction that arrests the human soul, a fragile flower growing from a body armored in pain. Across the many peoples of the Americas, and across thousands of years of time, the cactus has been interpreted as sacred. For the oppressed, it whispers resistance. For the lonely, it stands as a symbol of solitary protection. And for the broken among us, the cactus tells of the faintest possibility of bloom. The Navajo did not mistake its form for weakness. The Aztecs carved their futures in its silhouette. In the West, in the South, in lands scorched and sacred, the cactus has endured. And so too have those who look to it for inspiration and comfort. This is no idle symbol. This is a thing forged by fire, as we, too, are forged by those same flames. In this exploration, we will not simply admire the cactus. We will interrogate it, its place in the dream world, its roots in ancestral memory, and the commanding power it holds for those with eyes to see. We will strip away soft affirmations and instead face the truth it offers, that to live is not to be comforted, but rather, to live is often simply to survive. And in surviving, to discover something fierce and maybe even beautiful within. Resilience in adversity, endure like the desert itself. Resilience isn't soft, it isn't poetic. It's what remains when hope, comfort, and illusion have been burned away. And the cactus knows this. It doesn't whimper beneath the relentless gaze of the sun or crumble under the cold-blooded stare of the night. It endures because it must. Because it was made for suffering, and somehow, suffering became its method of survival. In the open wastelands, where even the wind itself seems to have forgotten the faintest memory of mercy, the cactus does not merely cling to its life. Instead, it demands it. Its skin, thick and calloused, hoards water like liquid gold. Its spines stab at anything that dares to creep too close. It has no softness for the world, and yet, against all odds, it thrives. Not by denial, but by adaptation. Not in spite of the pain, but rather, through that very pain does it persist and even succeed. And so it represents, for us, a profound symbol of our ability to thrive through the pain. Life will not cradle us. Instead, it will expose us. It will strip us bare and test the depth of whatever we pretend to carry inside. The cactus tells no lies. It speaks through its silence. You are not broken. You are preparing. Every loss, every dry season is proof that something within you has not yet surrendered. To hand someone a cactus is to offer them not beauty, but a clear truth. It is to say, you will not be spared, but you will survive. It is not comfort, it is challenge. The world will try to hollow you out. But remember the cactus, how it stands, proud and scarred, beneath a sky that never once promised even a drop of rain. And when your own desert comes, and I'm afraid, unfortunately, it will, you won't ask for escape, you will dig in. You will endure. And certainly, eventually, you will bloom. Protection and boundaries, the brutality and grace of defense. The cactus does not apologize for its spines. It does not shrink from the accusation of being unwelcoming. It guards what is vital. In a world where too much softness invites ruin, it has chosen another path, one of barbed silence, of watchful endurance. Its needles are not decoration. They are law. They draw lines that the world must not cross. And so, in its form, we see a lesson not of comfort, but of necessity. To protect one's inner reserves, one must be willing to wound, or at least to threaten wounding. This is not cruelty, it is survival. Throughout time, people have placed cacti where the world tries to enter, at thresholds by windows, near the points of ingress where harm might slip in unnoticed. In Mexico, in dusty border towns and crumbling stone villages, the cactus has long stood not as a pretty thing, but as a dutiful sentry. Its form speaks in a dialect older than language. It says, "I am here, do not test me." And yet there is paradox. The cactus is not hollow. Inside its armored body is stored the very thing the desert denies: moisture, life, sustenance. So too with the human soul. Beneath every harsh word, every boundary drawn in steel, may lie a longing to preserve what is tender. The trick, as the cactus shows us, is to defend without decay, to remain whole without hardening beyond repair. But the lesson is not free. Misplaced, the cactus can stir unrest. Aging whispers speak of its arrow energy, restless, sharp, unsettling in the wrong corner. Ancient disciplines, concerned with aesthetics and energies, warn, put this guardian too close to the bed, and you may invite unrest where you meant to bring peace. Defense must be placed with care. A sword at the dinner table does not make a guest feel safe. And so we are left with this: to live is to be exposed, but not unguarded. You do not owe your soul to every open hand. Let the cactus remind you, resistance is not betrayal. Boundaries are not cruelty. You are not here to be consumed. In another age, settlers lined their homes with cactus fences, not out of hatred but necessity. Against thieves, against beasts, against the chaos that always lurks just outside the firelight. We do the same in quieter ways. We guard what we love with sharpness, with silence, with distance. And in that act, we make space, not for fear, but for peace. Adaptability and self-sufficiency, strength carved by isolation. The cactus does not expect mercy from its environment. It does not chase after the rain. It waits, rooted deep, body swollen with the rare blessings it has already learned to catch, store, and protect. This is not optimism. This is knowledge, earned through centuries of exposure. The world gives nothing freely, and what it offers today it may rip away tomorrow. So the cactus adapts, quietly, completely, not because it hopes for ease, but because survival demands it. There are no guarantees in the human desert either, no promise of constant comfort, no permanence of joy. One day delivers abundance, the next a hollow sky. But in this shifting terrain, the cactus speaks with brutal clarity: expand when the rain comes. Hold what you can. Expect the drought. It is not a message wrapped in softness. It is a lesson formed from necessity. To live well in a world that does not always care for you, you must learn what the cactus knows: how to stretch without breaking, how to conserve your strength without growing cold. This is not just about resilience. It is about being alone and being enough. The cactus waits for no gardener. It does not plead. It does not wilt for attention. Its autonomy is total. And in this self-sufficiency lies a spiritual law: you do not need to be surrounded to be supported. There are moments, years even, when you will walk alone, when no hand will reach for yours. It is then that you will learn what you carry inside. If you have prepared well, nurtured silence, practiced stillness, studied yourself, you will draw from your own well and not run dry. You may juggle obligations like stones in a sandstorm, work that takes too much, family that needs more, healing that feels slow. But still, you move forward. Still, you stand. You do not demand ease. You adapt. You conserve. You endure. This is not weakness. It is a strange kind of power, the kind that grows in isolation, in hardship, in places where others give up. When you tend your cactus at home, know this: while you might find it attractive, perhaps even beautiful, but that is not its message. It is there to remind you of what you are capable of. It is a quiet monument to the truth that everything you need, you may already have within you. Hidden nourishment and the solitude of the inner life. From a distance, the cactus appears impenetrable, a sentinel of survival, its body armored against the world, its silhouette forged in defiance. But beneath that skin, behind the barbed warning of its spines, is water, cool, sustaining, secret. The kind of nourishment that must be concealed, but without which nothing would survive. It is a contradiction the world often forgets, that what appears harsh may hold the most tenderness inside. In human terms, we know this all too well. The man who never speaks of his pain, the woman who smiles through exhaustion. the child who grows up learning to flinch inward instead of cry aloud. Hardened by experience, by disappointment, by the cold indifference of others. Yet still, somewhere within, a pulse of softness survives. It is not weakness. It is the soul's quiet rebellion to hold on to sweet and kindly sentiment in a world that demands its suppression. The cactus shows us what this looks like in nature, what it means to be guarded and life-giving all at once. It tells us that the outer shell, however severe, may be the only way to protect what matters most, the inner well, the untouched source of compassion, memory, warmth. And it teaches us, without flattery, without condescension, that it is possible to be both armored and alive. Indigenous peoples have long known this truth, not as metaphor, but as something more practical. They cut open the cactus not to admire its resilience, but to survive. Its pulp applied to cuts, its juice used to cool fevers, its hidden waters as a source of life itself. In that act, desperate, sacred, routine, they proved what we must remember. What you carry inside may one day save someone, maybe even yourself. And in those traditions, the cactus became more than a plant. It became symbol. Of endurance, yes, but also of grace. Not the loud grace that asks to be praised, but the kind that shelters others when storms hit. The yellow bloom rising from thorns, proof that tenderness can emerge from struggle. So when you water your cactus, when you give life to something that needs so little, do it as a ritual. Not of beauty, but of recognition. Say quietly, if only to yourself, I still carry water. I still carry life. Let that small act remind you that strength isn't measured in hardness alone. It's found in what you choose to protect and in how much of yourself you refuse to give up. Blooming through challenges, a flower that refuses to die. The desert does not forgive. It does not invite softness. It stretches on in silence, unbroken and indifferent, swallowing color, moisture, and time itself. And yet one morning, without warning, a cactus blooms. A blaze of color on a spiked body, a fragile burst of life where none should be. There is something unsettling in this, something almost defiant. The cactus flower is not supposed to exist, not here, not under this sky, and still it does. That is the miracle, not that it is beautiful, but that it is possible. We speak of unconditional love as if it were easy. As if love were merely an open hand, a kind word, a gentle thought. But the cactus tells a different story. Love, real love, is a thing that survives without asking for comfort. It is a thing that grows teeth, that learns to protect what is tender by becoming dangerous. And then, without warning, it blooms. It shows the world it has not forgotten how to be soft. Among the Navajo, the prickly pear's yellow blossom is more than flora. It is mother. Not the lullaby-singing mother of easy myth, but the one who survives hunger, heat, silence. The one who bleeds and endures and still offers warmth. It is maternal love stripped of sentiment, pure, fierce, impossible to extinguish. Your own life may not resemble a garden. You may have known drought, long stretches of grief, of work without reward, of being unseen. Still, the cactus flower speaks. Growth does not need approval. Bloom when you must. Some transformations take years, some arrive overnight, but they all come from the same place, a slow, stubborn insistence that beauty is still possible. You may not see your own blooming yet. You may still be all thorn and defense. That's allowed. The flower does not ask the cactus to soften. It asks only to emerge when it's ready. And if you have dreamt of cactus flowers, if you've seen them in quiet images, on roadside altars, or in the corners of your memory, consider it a visitation. A signal that something in you is still willing to grow, still willing to risk love. Let the cactus flower remind you, life may wound you, may callous your skin and tighten your jaw. But somewhere within, some part of you still wants to offer something beautiful. And that, against all odds, is what endures. The cactus in our dreams, messages from the subconscious desert. Dreams arrive when the world is quiet and defenses are down. They speak in strange symbols, often forged from truths we're not ready to say aloud. The cactus, in a dream, is not merely a plant. It is a guardian, the sentry atop the watchtower. It comes from the dry places inside us, carrying messages we might be too tired, too hardened, or too afraid to hear in waking life. If you're feeling prickly or invaded, then a cactus appearing in your dream may be a reflection of rising pressure, unspoken resentment, demands you can no longer meet, boundaries tested too often. Its spines, pointed and silent, suggest your need to defend what's left of your space. Maybe you've withdrawn. Maybe you're keeping someone at bay, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. But ask yourself, is this protection, or is it isolation? The dream may be urging you to examine the fortress you've built. Are you defending your peace? Or perhaps are you hiding from the pain of being known? Sometimes in dreams, cacti represent resilience and survival under pressure. The cactus in a dream can stand not as a warning, but as a mirror, a recognition. Despite everything, you are still standing. Worn, maybe, weathered, but still upright. The cactus here is not danger, it is proof. Proof that you've endured, that no matter how brutal the climate, you've kept something vital alive inside. The dream may be asking you not just to persist, but to finally see your persistence for what it is, a quiet form of greatness. To dream of a cactus can also imply entanglement or adaptation in difficulty. You may be caught in something that won't yield, a job, a relationship, a truth you're avoiding. The cactus arrives in your dream not to offer escape, but strategy. It survives by its wits, by not succumbing to the rigors of desert life, by adjusting, not resisting. You may be fighting too hard against something that simply must be endured, reshaped, re-understood. The cactus suggests that you learn the terrain, to store what strength you can, to be lean, be sharp, be ready. Of course, the cactus and its spines in dreams can symbolize pain, emotional wounds, or the need to forgive. A dream of cactus needles, or of being pierced, can reveal a truth the waking self has dulled. Hurt, sharp words still echoing, trust broken. Or perhaps it is you who struck out, protecting yourself with blade instead of boundary. If you dream of touching the cactus and feeling pain, your subconscious may be showing you the tender spot where a cut hasn't yet healed. What are you still holding that should have been let go? Where have you wounded others by mistake? Pain is not the enemy here, avoidance is. To dream of a cactus in bloom is a wonderful thing. The heart awakens. When the cactus flowers in your dream, it can be interpreted as a message. Love, once buried, is rising. Your own capacity for warmth is pushing through the armor. Whether it's new affection, long-awaited healing, or just the quiet opening of your soul to possibility again, this dream is an offering. A promise, even in barren places, beauty is possible, especially there. Beware a dream of a dried or withered cactus. It can be a warning from the depths if the cactus is lifeless. Shrunken, brittle, forgotten, it may be your spirit crying out. A part of you has been left untended too long, exhaustion, emotional starvation. A warning, if you keep going like this, something vital will not survive. The dream asks, what part of your life is dying of thirst? What must you stop pretending to handle alone? The answer may not be easy, but the cost of silence is higher. The wild, desert-growing cactus versus the pretty potted cactus sitting on your window ledge. Two settings, two meanings, but one spirit. A cactus, whether rooted in sandy desert earth or sitting on a well-tended windowsill, doesn't depend on much. It hardly needs you at all, but it offers something nonetheless. It stands beside you. Separate but consistent, silent but symbolic. It says something simply, it says it clearly, and without hesitation. It tells you, it insists to you, you can survive this. Wild or domestic, the cactus speaks the same truth. Survival, quiet strength, endurance without applause. The setting changes, the message doesn't. One is a messenger of vast solitude, the other a quiet ally in daily life. Both whisper, adapt, protect, bloom when ready. The wild cactus, Mother Nature's messenger of solitude and stillness. To meet a cactus in the wild is to encounter presence without performance. It stands beneath the sky like a truth unspoken, alone, uncelebrated, yet living. You may stumble upon it in a forgotten patch of desert or roadside dirt. The timing feels odd and the moment feels heavy. If you're paying attention, not to your phone screen, but to your human soul, it hits. This is not chance. Maybe it mirrors something you haven't named. Maybe it's loneliness or resilience, maybe a warning, or even a promise. If your life feels too exposed, too exploited, the cactus might reflect your need for boundaries. Its spines say, not everything should be touched. While its bloom says, you can thrive without changing the world around you. Ask yourself, where in my life does this cactus live? Is it in grief? Or in solitude? Or is it something else? Is it actually unspoken strength? The wild cactus conveys its meaning overtly, honestly, simplistically. It just shows you what you're already carrying, and carrying at a cost. Learn the secret of your potted cactus. A quiet watcher, but a friend to depend on. To bring a cactus indoors is to invoke its famous hardiness. It isn't needy like an orchid, nor thirsty like a forest fern. It survives droughts of attention. It teaches by being still. Placed by your door, it becomes a guardian. Only what is welcome may enter. On your desk, it's a sentinel, absorbing chaos, reminding you to stay centered. You can't overwater it, hover over it, or force its growth. You offer space, light, water, and release control. This is spiritual practice disguised as plant care. The teaching is, nourish things you love, then let them go. Watch it. If it thrives, then maybe you'll thrive too. But if it withers, ask what energy in your space has gone stagnant. The cactus doesn't always suffer from neglect. Sometimes it takes in what you won't face. Some name their cactus, place stones or threads beside it, whisper to it. These aren't superstitions, they're rituals of recognition. The cactus, though sharp and silent, becomes an ally. Not soft, but steady. Just be careful where you place it. Let it face the world, not your bed, not your vulnerability. Its job isn't comfort, it's protection. Just let it teach you. Let it guard over you, and let it remind you quietly, you too can carry the weight of life through hard conditions. And so, we've reached our conclusion. The cactus and bearing the weight of light. At the edge of morning, under harsh sun or soft light, a cactus stands, alive, sharp, unshaken. It does not flourish because the conditions are kind. It flourishes because it knows how to survive when they're not. This is its spirit, not comfort, but fierce companionship. Whether it appears in a dream, on a dusty trail, or beside your window, it does not want to take anything from you. Instead, it simply offers its presence. Its message is ancient: guard what matters. Expect difficulty, but never abandon the hope of bloom. Adapt when you must. Endure when you can. Bloom only when it's real. And in every dry season, remember, the water is still inside you. Across generations, people turned to this plant, not for softness, but for truth. Not because it needed to heal, but because it could. So must we. This isn't about becoming stronger. It's about remembering you already are. You've survived, you're still standing, and somewhere inside you, beauty waits. Let the cactus remind you, strength is not the absence of pain. It's the will to keep growing anyway. When the world dries up, when nothing moves and only your breath remains, be like the cactus. Stand, hold light, protect what's sacred, wait for your bloom. You were never meant to be ornamental. You were meant to endure, and endure you will. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Symbols and Synchronicity. If the symbolism of the cactus spoke to you, with its quiet strength, resilience, and hidden wisdom, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what it means to you. If you enjoy diving into the deeper meaning of the world around us, please consider giving us a like. And of course, think about subscribing so you don't miss our next video analyzing the secret meaning hidden in the world around us. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and remember, the universe is always speaking, but only if you're listening.